Now, in any percent, you have Slate Warrior. You should be coding this guy in. He is the fastest way to beat pretty much anyone who has Crush around the middle of the field. Absurdly fast. There's nothing as fast as Slate Warrior on some of these duels. And if you have Dimensional Slate Warrior, this duel is pretty much free. You can probably guess how to play this. I mean, again, you have a card in the middle, so he plays to the right. And then on the second turn, you're going to leapfrog with Dimensionhole. And you don't actually have to flip up, move it forward, but I just kind of do. It doesn't actually make a difference here, really. And then, of course, we just attack him front on with a Slate Warrior. And then take a wild guess at what he's going to do, right? He's going to move to the left. And then there's nothing you can really do to stop you attacking him a second time. There's really nothing you can actually do. So he's going to move to the left and he'll play somewhere. It really doesn't matter if he plays forward or to the right. You can attack him the other way anyway. So he plays in front of him, defends, and then you can just attack him by moving forward and to the right and killing him. And it really is that simple. Like, it really is that simple. If you have Dimensional Slate Warrior, this should pretty much always work. I don't know how this doesn't work, so yeah. That's a very simple way to beat him. Okay, so I'll show you how to play Slate Warrior if you don't have Dimensionhole. And it's actually not too complex. Just make sure, you pretty much always just need to make sure, unless, I don't think there's any circumstance where you don't open with a card in the middle, because he just plays to the right, and then that card is pretty much out of the game. Like, if he plays, like, especially equipping stuff, it will never be part of the game again, because it just won't go back on the Crush. But, yeah, you just have the card in the middle, he plays to the right, and then you kind of play from here, right? So instead of actually moving forward and passing, you actually play the Slate Warrior now, and you just launch it towards him. And you notice this is kind of similar to the Mammoth setup on the 4th turn after terrain, is that he moves to the left, and then he plays in front of him, and then you're going to attack him from his right. And then when he moves away from it, he's going to play a monster out of the way because he doesn't want that monster to die to Slate Warrior. So you attack him here directly on the 3rd turn, very simple, it's the only avenue you really have to attack. And then you still have movement bonus. So when he moves away, unless he blocks to the right, he is going to die on the 4th turn. Remember, this guy has no trap cards, so you just attack him and you don't have to worry about that. And of course, the AI don't like to play a monster in a space where it's under threat of attack and dying, so he plays it out of the way and just keeps his deck leader exposed, which is an AI classic. Really not too complex, that one. Alright, and a very important strategy is Dimensionhole Zombie. This can get you a 3-turn. I actually think that this doesn't save that much time over a safe 4-turn, and it's a lot riskier. However, if I have a Dimensionhole, and I have something like a Great Mammoth, basically, I'm looking for Dimensionhole, and then plus something that's strong on Wasteland, that also does 2000 attack off of Wasteland. So, Dimensionhole plus a Great Mammoth, or example, Dimensionhole plus Dragon Zombie plus a Violet Crystal is good. So, you play the typical Leapfrog with Dimensionhole, again, having a card on the middle on the 1st turn, and then you activate it on your 2nd turn. Now you play top right, highest damage as possible, and then you attack him from his left. And because he's a Red Rose duelist, he'll move forward. Now it's possible he plays a card in front of him, and then he wants to move away, so he'll move to the right after that. But he can play a card to the right, and then he has no space to move other than forward. So you can attack him again. Now, if you're actually short of 2k attack, you can still do this, but then you would need to perform a 3rd attack on this 3rd turn to make up the difference of damage. For example, if you attacked him with a Pumpkin twice, it would do 1800 twice, and you still have 400 life points to go. You just play another monster out of your hand and then kill him with that, and you get the 3-turn. Now, one of the more common strategies you'll see, particularly in 80%, I'm kind of used to playing this without 3 terrain cards, but if you do have terrain cards, you probably draw into this hand a lot. So, to get I would recommend doing this. Basically, you play a terrain card down as your, put in the middle of the field, plays your first card, put in the middle of the field, and then he will play out of the way. But then we can't do the trick by forcing him onto the Wasteland anymore, because this isn't a monster, but we don't want to do that anyway. So I want to activate this terrain card forward, and then now we can move our deck leader forward, and then play a card out of our hand, a monster out of our hand that's strong on Wasteland or Yami, depending on what you activate. So obviously you're doing this to play a zombie, that is your goal. And now you're going to launch the zombie towards him. So now what he's going to do is move out of the way, and he'll play in front of him. And the thing is, he can actually play a Dimensionhole, and he will activate it, and then you can get a 3-turn here. So this is why it's actually worth doing this over a safe strategy. If you've opened with a terrain card, that's why I would recommend this. It's really not likely, but it is possible. But he defends with it. So what you do is attack him. Now, the interesting thing is, you might think that you need to make a backup play or something, but actually you don't at this point when you have a powerful zombie there, because he'll move to the left, and he actually plays out of the way, because he doesn't want to play a monster that's going to die in between you and that monster that you have. So he actually moves to the left, and he just plays, like, to the left. And then you just attack him again, without having to take any further actions apart from moving your Great Mammoth. So that's how you play that guy. Alright, so I want to go through the safe strategy for this guy. It's very important to know because this will save you a lot of hassle. It works like at least 9 out of 10 times. So we move forward, and then what we're looking for, again, primarily our goal on the third turn is to play something on the bottom left wasteland tile from our perspective and attack him directly. So what we're kind of preparing to do is make sure that we have that. So we need to try to reserve summoning power. So, as long as you open with a monster, you'll be fine. On this first turn, you want to look for your lowest SP monster, and the best cards to play are things that can fuse into stuff that are strong on Wasteland, in case you don't actually draw anything strong on Wasteland. You might need, like, a zombie component, if you didn't have a deck full of, like, zombies here. Read the hand here straight away. I can see that I've got a pumpkin in the hand, so I can fuse a zombie with a plant. So what I can do is just play, like, any zombie here. So I play my Bone Mouse and move it forward. This is going to make him play to the right. And the next turn, we're going to move our Bone Mouse forward. And then another thing that we can do to avoid any trouble, pretty much like over 9 out of 10 times, like it's ridiculous. After we move this forward, again, this is just to force him to move to the left. So he's going to move to the left anyway. So we move our deck leader forward, and now we want to play a monster here. Now, the reason why we want to do this is because if he decides to play a spell, he will play it in front of him. And if we don't have a monster here, he will move it to the left, which when he passes after that, and it's our third turn, we actually can't attack him directly because that card will be in the way. So we play a monster here. Any monster. Really doesn't matter as long as it's a monster. Then, yeah, from this perspective, if he plays a monster in front of him, he won't move it to the left, he will move it down. After he moves his deck lid to the left. In this case, he actually played a monster, so it didn't matter. But again, if he actually played a monster at this stage, then it wouldn't be in the way. If he'd actually played, a spell, it would be in front of his deck leader after he ended his turn. So now at this point, on our third turn, we move forward, and now we play just anything 2k attack or higher on Wasteland, except a dinosaur. If you play a dinosaur, his deck leader will kill it instantly. So don't be playing Sword Arm of Dragon or anything like that. Play a zombie or a machine or a rock if you have one that's 2k attack or higher, like if you have Mystical Sand, something like that. And again, you only need 2k attack to kill him in 2 hits with this, but you want to create as high attack as possible to avoid him actually killing your monster. If he kills your monster, then you have to move to the right and then play top right and then attack him, like I'm highlighting now. But that is slower. So, like for example, if you have a Great Mammoth in the hand and a Violet Crystal, you may as well play that Violet Crystal, because you will lose 1 second to play that Violet Crystal, and it will basically almost guarantee that he won't kill your Great Mammoth, which will avoid you losing another like 10 to 20 seconds.